The Bishop in the Fountain, 2006, embodies the pathological shadow of Tom. He transforms Tom's obsessive desire to save Izzi, the Anima, into ritualized violence. The act of smearing blood on the map of Spain, symbolizing Izzi's body, and the bishop's self-flagellation signify the distortion of Tom's healing love into a form of destructive possession. Through a mythological, Zahak, and Jungian psychoanalytic lens, this essay examined the Bishop-Tom-Izzi triad as a tragic triangle of death denial. The map of Spain, presented as conquered territory, functioned as a symbol of Izzi's body as queen or anima. The bishop's blood, which on the primary level signifies military conquest, on a deeper level represents Tom's own blood, his attempt to master the cancer-consuming Izzi. The ritual of blood applied to the map is an act of symbolic possession of Izzi's body, reflecting the illusion of overcoming death through domination. In the film's cinematic juxtaposition, this sequence coincides with the image of Izzi's tumor and the dying star Xibalba in a golden light. These triads suggest that Izzi's death, cancer, cosmic death, the star, and the bishop's violence all participate in a sacralized cycle. Accepting this cycle becomes the path to redemption. The bishop's self-mortification is not repentance, but rather a reflection of Tom's despair. His self-flagellation expressed the punishment of the self for failing to cure Izzi. His ritual cries embody passive rage against death, and his frenzied eyes project the delusion of absolute power over life and death. Much like the serpents on Zahak's shoulders, sustained by feeding on the brain of youth, the bishop sustained an illusion of immortality through the blood of his own suffering and that of others. His destruction, like the slaying of Zahak, unleashes chaos, for evil is not an external enemy, but an old wound within the psyche. The queen's command not to kill the bishop, if we kill him, Europe will rise against us, serve as a metaphor for the danger of rejecting the shadow, akin to the sacred injunction in Iranian mythology that Freydun must not kill Zahak. To annihilate the bishop would be to deny Tom's inner shadow, thereby transforming him into a new bishop. A concrete manifestation of this process can be seen in honor killings, where male rage is projected onto women rather than confronting the man's own helplessness before the loss of the anima. The bishop is not slain because he represents a cultural and collective wound, a latent seed in a psyche of every human unable to accept death. The golden light recurring in three pivotal scenes, the image of Izzi's tumor in laboratory, the expulsion of the star Xibalba, and the bishop's moment of surrender, conveys a divine message. Death is integral to sacredness of birth. The one who reconciles with death is your queen, achieves eternity. The one who battles against it, Tom and Bishop, remains imprisoned in darkness. Thus, the film's tragic triangle takes shapes as follows. Izzi as anima, liberated body who transforms acceptance of death into redemption. Tom as a despairing self who translates denial of death into bondage within the shadow. And the bishop as the distorted shadow entrapped in the illusion of mastering death. Threshold object, the dagger. In the fountain we encounter a symbol that appears simple, yet is in fact profoundly layered. A four-holed dagger. This dagger is given by the queen to the hero, so that with his help he may find the path to the tree of life. Yet this dagger is not merely a physical instrument, it's something beyond that. We are confronted with an instrument that has both a cosmic and a psychological dimension, that in effect links the hero's journey from the outer world to the inner world. If we look at the dagger's structure, we see three holes around and one hole at the center, a 3+1 pattern. This pattern closely resembles symbolic, mystical, and cosmological structures. In fact, one can view it as a mandala, signifying the wholeness of the psyche. In Maya culture, the three outer holes function like the three-heart stone, a sign of cosmogony, and the central hole is the place where the fire is lit, the place that in the film is likewise seen as the site of the Tree of Life. Even more interesting is that in Mayan myth, these three stones correspond to the three stars of Orion Belt, and the middle star, Theta 1 Orion C, is precisely the emblem of the gate of the underworld, namely Xibalba, the place where the passage from death to spiritual life occurs. From another angle, the dagger also has a ritual role in the film. The hero received this dagger from a Mayan priest. In the Mayan tradition, sacred instruments such as this dagger were used to lift the veil between worlds, to conduct sacrificial rites, and to establish contact with cosmic forces. In the film too, when the dagger is placed on the map, the precise location of the Tree of Life, which is not visible to the ordinary eye, is revealed. This is precisely the moment that we can regard as the activation of the eye of intuition. From a Jungian perspective, this is the point at which the hero passes beyond the level of consciousness and enters the collective unconscious by means of a symbolic instrument that Jung called the threshold object. If we undertake a brief comparative analysis of myth, we see this pattern recurring across cultures. In the Maya, the same three heartstone and Xibalba indicate cosmic creation and the passage to the world of the dead. In Egypt, the Giza pyramids reflect Orion's belt upon the earth. In Hinduism, the yantra and the bindu symbolize the threefold energies and a pure point at the center of the cosmos. In Kabbalah or Jewish mysticism, the Star of David reflects the same meaning, two interlaced triangle with a divine centrality. All this shows that the film consciously draws upon the shared code of the collective unconscious and selects symbols that bear an archetypal and universal weight. From a Jungian psychological perspective, the dagger is precisely an instrument for penetrating the unconscious. Like Moses' staff, the Holy Grail, or Solomon's ring, it is an instrument that activates the inner journey. The moment when the dagger is placed upon the map is in fact an instance of meaningful synchronicity, a point at which the inner world, intuition, and the outer world, place are aligned. Thus, in the end, one can say that the dagger in the film functions as a key to the center of the psyche. This symbol simultaneously gathers within itself several notions: an inner cosmic map of the self, an instrument for crossing boundaries of conventional reason, a sign of activated intuition and contact with the center of the collective unconscious, and ultimately the point at which time and timelessness, consciousness and mystery, the individual and the whole converge. Yet his role is dramatic and symbolic. He is like a guide who emerges from within the anima to lead the hero to a stage of his psychological journey, and as soon as this task is fulfilled, he exits the scene. This priest, who has received a ritual dagger from a pagan Mayan priest, and by the queen's command entrusted to the hero, transcends formal religious tradition through his action and enters a realm of intuitive and mythological knowledge. This dagger, which is the only means to locate the Tree of Life on the map, is given by the priest as an instrument of intuition and passage beyond the threshold of consciousness. But the moment he himself sees the tree, contrary to expectation, he does not yield to a desirous or greedy urge to possess it. Instead, he merely points the way to the hero and is then killed by minor figures. This swift withdrawal is a sign that his role lies not in continuing the journey, but simply in opening the door to inner realm. His sudden death also recalls the fate to guides such as Theseus, or the transient wise old man whose function is to facilitate the hero's passage across the threshold, not to accompany him to the end. Here the priest does not represent official religious, but is the manifestation of intuitive and hidden aspect of religion, the very overlooked shadow that, after delivering its message, vanishes. His brief presence, His silence in the face of temptation and his unnoticed death indicate that he was the Anima's cosmic instrument for advancing the hero's inner journey, not a character with independent will in the story. And for this reason, like a silent alchemist, he opens the path and himself recedes into the mystery of oblivion. The wise elder in the fountain, much like a psychoanalyst in the therapy room, serve as a guide and facilitator of the hero's inner experience. He shows the path across the threshold of intuition, but does not participate in the experience of change or the attainment of the goal himself. His brief presence, silence in the face of temptation, and withdrawal after fulfilling his role mirror the psychoanalytic process, in which the analysts function as a tool and reflection for the client's growth rather than as the agent of ultimate change, both by revealing the path and providing symbolic and technical tools enable inner transformation, after which their role fades so that the client or hero can traverse the experience independently.